So something I'm starting to notice having a son is that a lot of times he gets like antagonized. If my daughter does the same thing he does, she's like cute, she's a queen, she's a diva. But if he does that same thing, he's like being a bad kid or whatever. And I kind of warm up to that because I'm starting to realize that people be hating on boys, and it's not just my son. I've seen other little boys go through this too, where if like a babysitter or something, or like a teacher say something about their son, the first thing they do is jump down their son's throat. And I will say this about boys: they're very low drama. So then a lot of times I think they be having an attitude of, well, I didn't do that, so I don't have to defend myself. At least that's what I'm experiencing with my son. And what he doesn't realize is that when he does that, it kind of makes the other person seem like they're credible for saying what they're saying. But I preface that because I'm trying to find a way to figure out if I'm a bad mom for this. So, long story short, my son was playing, and there was a kid who came to play with him, and he didn't want to play with that kid. Now, you might be thinking, oh, no big deal. Kids decide who they want to play with. No big deal. But this kid was special. My son is 3 years old. The kid that wanted to play with him had to be about 6 or 7. Not that much of an age gap. My son's a pretty big kid. So this kid, I wouldn't be surprised if he thought maybe my kid was like 4 or 5. My son's a pretty big kid. But the significance of this child was the child was transgender. Hey, the problem that I have with that is, how is a kid in elementary school transgender? By the time I got involved with my son not wanting to play with this kid at the playpen, everybody just kind of swarmed on me, right? And I don't know. I can see how people might have perceived me to be defensive of my son because he's my son, right? So obviously people are gonna expect for me to take my son's side. Like, he's refusing to play with a kid. Maybe he hurt that kid's feelings. Blah blah blah. But the first thing I thought about when I was walking up was this kid with the girl shirt on. And I'm like, why is this little girl running up on my son like that? Like, what little girl wants to run and jump on another little boy? That's crazy to me, right? I get closer, and this kid, he turns around, and of course I might be misgendering, but I noticed that he's got on a girl shirt. His hair is pulled in a ponytail. His fingernails are painted. And he's got on like eyeliner. And I'm like, what in the world is this child doing with makeup on? What in the world is this child doing with nail polish on? Even if it were a girl, that would be too much, right? Like, it's too much for a little girl having on like nail polish and makeup. That's too much, in my opinion. That's too much. I know there are a lot of people that are like, they let their kids wear makeup as early as teenagers, but elementary school, the way I saw it was this kid is being groomed. My son don't know. He does not know anything about this world. And the first thing that the people around were reacting to was that, how come my son is like, he was the weird one because he did not know how to respond. And then I was being treated badly because I did not know how to respond. Silly me. I thought I would have to deal with this and explain this to my kids, at least when they're old enough to talk. But now I'm seeing, I guess, woke agenda thing is affecting kids as young as 6 years old. In a world where people would have been like, Why is that little boy who's not even old enough he's not even old enough for like puberty or whatever? Why does he have on makeup? Why does he have on nail polish? No, it was my son. It was just a regular boy. Why is he treating that boy like a boy? Or why is he confused? Why is he misgendering? My son can't even talk yet. Well, he doesn't talk much, but why is my son, my 3-year-old son, okay, he big. I'll give him that. He look like about 4 5. But the emphasis around everybody was, how come my son doesn't know how to react to transgenderism?